Hello and welcome to our fabulous listeners. I'm your host, Moira Geary, and this is your Positivity Project. For those of you that don't know me, I'm an author and speaker, and I have a personal development company. And I specialise in teaching people who are stressed, overwhelmed, procrastinating, and are driven by fear how to live more enriched, courageous, and calmer lives.
Now, there's nobody watching this today who doesn't have a problem, or maybe even a ton of problems. Do you think that you can really help those people to find a solution?
Yes, absolutely. I cannot give them the solution or tell them what their solution is or should be, but I can certainly walk them through a little process that will help them to find the best solution to their problem.
What does that involve?
It's I'll talk you through it. Are you okay if I talk us through it now?
Oh, I have
Yeah.
loads of problems, but I don't
Okay.
give them much food.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
I
you-
really kind of throw them out and say it'll be all grand.
Okay.
But I'm sure not everybody has that ability, you see.
Absolutely. And actually, Bibi, you've just used an expression there, I throw them out, and you've used your hands to do that. And that actually will give you a little indication when I show you this process that you're automatically, subconsciously starting the process that I'm going to show you without even realizing that you're doing it. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people that manage things in life very well, they're doing all of these techniques all of the time. It's just that what's wonderful is that now we understand the structure of these techniques and these processes, that we can teach them to people that probably don't find it as easy to manage, which has been me at times, and that's why I'm just so happy to use them. So let's just say somebody has a big problem, so quite a big problem, and it is all consuming. So when something like that happens, how we process that in our heads is we create all of these pictures associated to the problem, and sometimes we even run movies of the problem in our head. So if somebody's focusing on a problem and something has happened and it's quite dramatic for them, usually what's going on in their minds, it's almost like they've the problem up here in front of their face. So when I have my hand up here, I can't see you, I can't see the room, but when I take the problem and I move it out a little bit, which is literally what you did a minute ago, what I'm doing now is I'm dissociating me from the problem, or dissociating the problem from me. So I'm not saying the problem's gone, it's still there, but now that I've pushed it out a little bit, at least I can, first of all, catch my breath, because when we dissociate from a picture or an image or a memory, it has to impact on our feeling or our emotion. So now that I've pushed it out, the problem is still there and I can still feel the stress around it. However, the stress is reduced. Now it's easier for me, first of all, to make a decision once we're more aligned emotionally.
Or to put it in simple terms, you've basically cleared your head a bit.
A little bit.
Yeah,
But I'm
a
going to
little
do
bit.
even more now, because I'm going to take the problem and push it right out, way out in the distance.
Let's do it.
So way out onto the wall, but don't get rid of it, because that's really just pushing something away and it'll just come back to bite us. So we push it out as far as we can on a wall out in front of us. We put a boundary around it. So there you've contained it. So it's contained, but it's there. And then what I say to clients is that when we're looking for a solution to a problem, the solution is never in the problem. Okay? So that's why having it here is not going to find the solution. So we push out, we dissociate, the emotion goes down. So I still feel it and I still see the size of it. And I know I need to deal with this. So when I'm looking at it, I see that's my problem. The solution is not in it. So the solution is in what we call the not problem. So
The not problem.
The not problem.
I've never heard of that before.
Yes, yeah, it's the opposite to the problem. So then if I ask you, where is the not problem? It's in this room, it's outside of this room, it's in this county, this country, this world. So when you look at the problem now, we've put the size of the problem into perspective, and we know that the solution to that problem is outside of it, so it is everywhere. So what I would ask then next is, has anybody on the planet existing now at the moment or over the last thousands of years ever found a solution to the same problem or similar problem? The answer is, of course, yes. So that's where you're going to find your solution. So you look and see, okay, who has had this problem before? What did they do? How did they work it out? What outcome did they have that would align to something that I want to align to?
And how would you find that person?
It can be anything. It can be that you do, search on Google. It could be. It depends on what the problem is. If it's an educational problem, if it's a business problem, if it's a relationship problem, you go and find people that have actually found solutions to the problem. But the point of going this far is that now that you've dissociated and you've put the problem into perspective size-wise, you emotionally are feeling a lot less triggered. So when you're not as triggered, that means that we act in a way that will be very much more supportive to a solution rather than being overwhelmed and stressed. And probably also when we're so taken over by an emotion, we often can act in inappropriate ways, or we often can look for comfort through maybe having the extra glass of wine or smoking cigarettes, or whatever it is. So it can help with that as well. So
But then you're heading potentially down the road of addiction, and that brings in a whole other range of problems into
absolutely.
the whole
But
thing.
I would even separate addiction is a hugely complex issue. And
is.
to be honest, I wouldn't work with someone. It's not that I wouldn't work with somebody with addiction. If I was ever asked about helping somebody that is going through addiction issues, I would only work with people that are completely being looked after by a medical team.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've often been asked to come in and help people as part of that team, and have helped very much around the piece where if somebody has had experiences and memories where they're still responding and reacting to them in a negative way. I certainly have helped a lot of people in that area, and then the rest of the team will take over and look after the addiction, but that wouldn't be my gig.
That wouldn't be your thing at all.
No.
Is this too simplistic? Because I was taught this years and years ago, and it keeps cropping up in my social media here and there, that if you have a problem today, which you identify as a considerable problem,
Yeah.
ask yourself, in 1 year's time,
Yeah.
in 5 years' time, will it still be a problem?
Yeah.
And if it's not, out she goes. Is that too simplistic?
It is and it isn't, and I'll tell you why. It depends on the person. It really depends on the individual and their ability to be able to follow through on that. And BB, I say it like when I run events, particularly there's one event I run called Wealthy Minds. It's a 2-day event, and we go quite deep in relation to really helping people. They come out the other end and they're going, what happened there? I'm just like, I feel completely different. Very transformative. But as I say to them all when they come in on day one, and they're all there with, the problems that are bothering them, the issues, and my mother-in-law this and my brother. But it's never about the mother-in-law, it's always about ourselves. So when we work on these people, and I always say to them, you're here this morning and those problems are so big for you. In 100 years' time, we're all going to be dead, so it's not going to matter a jot anyway.
No. I
And
love that idea.
sometimes that's a little bit of a reframe for people, and they kind of go, yeah, actually, that's true.
Well, I like that reframe. I think that's a very good one. And I think in itself, it'll help an awful lot of people today.
Yes.